Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS.
As if one race wasn't enough in the Apex Racing League GT3 trophy, tonight we double it for the first B format meeting of the season. A 25-minute race opens with a 30-minute reverse grid race 2 set to accompany to decide who will leave the 4th round of the championship with an advantage. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. I've got alongside me for tonight Avery McDonald with Lee Thompson bringing you this broadcast on Apex Racing TV. Avery, we've been to a fair few high-speed circuits already this season, Spa, Fuji and Road America, and it is no different tonight. We head to New York State and an absolutely thrilling, blowing circuit in the form of Watkins Glen. The most owned circuit on iRacing, and that really is testament to just how much of a fan favourite this one is.
Yeah, this track is so popular. It's such a great history. You know, I have so many big races between NASCAR, IMSA, and F1 back in the day. So it's great to see how many people have this track, and it provides a great opportunity for some very close and pack racing here.
That is what we are rooting for. We've got a big grid, as always, over 40 cars taking part tonight. Like I said before, 2 races tonight, a 25-minute race 1 and a 30-minute race 2. In race 2, we have got a 10-car reverse grid as well. But let's have a look at what the championship looks like heading into this 4th round of the season. And in the pro category, it really has been dominated just by one man, frankly, Antonino Samaga, in his McLaren, already with a vast championship lead. Carl Winkler has been knocking the performances. 3 top 5s for him so far for the core sim racing veteran. Taj Edwards and Kazuki Fujita doing well. Anders Meyer with a couple of 2nd places, but that no score back at Fuji really setting him back in 6th place. In the Pro-Am category, it's looking nice and tight in there as well with, well, super tight. They're tied on points. Thomas Asphaug was actually joined on points with Jack Wells going into the previous round. He got clear of Wells by 6 points. However, Alexander Skoretz made up some points. So they are incredibly close. Stasinski up there as well, Otter Holt, Turoshki, and several others, all looking to take a claim to that Pro-Am title. And in the Amateur Championship as well, we have got Christopher Crook just 2 points clear of Yannick Willems, Leon Leo, and Jeremy De Boiver, and Dirk Bout standing at the top 5. And we also have the Teams Championship as well. So far, 30 teams taking part in that series so far. And Core Sim Racing currently leading the way in that one with 588 points ahead of Orion Race Team and G Esports Race Team by White, albeit the top 2 seemingly making a bit of a break for it in these early stages. Currently qualifying just getting underway, Avery, and the pro drivers are leaving the pit lane for their 12-minute slots, and it's fairly busy, and everyone's trying to get a nice place on track, it looks like.
Yeah, 12 minutes may seem like a lot of time, but when you come to a track like Watkins Glen, you want to make sure you're able to get through the corners very good, because it's so fast here without running the bus stop. I mean, you want to make sure that you're in the toe, but you still have to maintain that speed. So only going to be a couple, maybe 3 or 4 good laps to try to get the fastest lap, because qualifying here is so important. because it's going to be pack racing, and it's pretty much anyone's game here, with being a little bit different than any other tracks we've been to this season.
You can see on the left side of the screen, 24 drivers have so far set lap times. They are the Pro Am and the Am drivers. David Way with a brilliant qualifying as an amateur driver to put it on the front row of the grid, but do expect that to change significantly. I imagine Roseth and Bay might still end up in the top 10 in the standings, but for sure the front few rows of the grid will be occupied by other drivers, especially now that Marcus Beifeld, who made an incredible impression on the championship, the Swedish driver, part of Street Trends Racing, Sim Racing, was an amateur driver going into the previous round. He finished 4th place overall. But despite his despite his lowly I rating, he has been promoted to the pros, and that is why he's out here tonight. So there's no going to be sneaking under the radar. Expect Marcus to be very quick.
Yeah, I really expect him to really gain some speed here. This is a track that, you know, if you're a Pro-Am driver or an Am driver, you might be able to, you know, race up with that faster class just because of being in the tow. Just try to get with the speeds. You know, that's the big thing here is, yeah, you may be a lower I rating, but you're really just going to try to click off times as fast as you can, because everyone's goal is to get better. And I'm sure if I was an Am driver, my goal would be get enough I rating to jump up to the Pro-Am division.
As Beifeld does move up into 2nd position, Olivieri at the top. I might ask you a little bit of a rude question here, Avery. For reference, to be a pro driver in this series, you need to be, I believe, 3.5k, and then the Am cutoff is 2.5k. Where would you be sitting as you're in this field?
We'd be sitting in the we'll just say 38th so far on time.
Okay.
we're about a 1200 1300 I rating, but you know, if I just put a little bit more into the sim, I could probably get a little bit higher. But you know, me being from America, you know, we're all into our oval racing, but my true love is GT3 racing, and it's so cool to be able to call this race from the Glen.
Definitely. And well, Taj Edwards and Kazuki Fujita, the last and second to last in this 41 car field that we have tonight. There's Thomas Vangen. He certainly has a lot of improvement to come from that 149.23. So Marco under the radar, going to the top, but only by a tenth of a second. And Samarco has taken pole position the first 3 rounds. I think at Fuji it was by like 4/10 of a second. At Road America, I believe it was Anders Meyer got within 2/10 of a second. So they are getting closer on the field. Let's see if anyone can oust him. This man could well be the one to do it. Thomas Vangen for IGL Coatings E-Racing. He crosses the line and he does go to the top. 0.04 of a second clear, and he dips into the 41s. Yeah.
One thing with the Glen running the classic boot configuration, there's less chances to make a mistake or to slow down, so that only helps some of the other drivers to try to qualify a little bit faster. But this is, a lot of the times are so close. If you take a look at the timing on the left side of the screen, a lot of close with the pro drivers, and the Pro-Ams are close, and the amateurs are all still tight together. So that's the one thing, Sam, that's going to be what makes this track really exciting, is how a lot of the lap times are super close, and that's just going to mean really good pack racing.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what we're going to be witnessing out here. As you say, a lot of close pack racing, and well, it will be a case of staying in the slipstream could be absolutely crucial, because at the moment it's 0.3 of a second separating our top 8. Everyone pretty much is out on an outlap. So Marco seemingly maybe just did 1 lap and then went back to the pits. I think the others did 2 flying laps, then went back to the pits. So Marco will be able to get in his next lap time a bit earlier. Ethan Bass, we are watching at the moment. Ethan had a good time of it last time. Both Scottish drivers actually did. They do seem to be a bit glued to one another. Ethan Bass and Kieran Smart, currently 17th and 18th. Last time they spent the whole race with one another. I think they were as low as 12th and 13th. At one point, I think they ended up 8th and 9th. But no affiliation when it comes to a team. But yeah, the 2 Scottish drivers very much attracting to one another. Bass knows that it won't take a big improvement for him to get up the standings. However, by sector time so far, I'm not seeing any green sectors, and so you may need to wait a little bit longer in order to get up there. This man, however, is setting some green sectors. Personal best sector 1 and sector 2. This could be very dangerous for Thomas Vangen.
Yeah, he's really put on a good run here. Those blue sectors, I mean, purple sectors, those come to me only once, and I usually don't get another one because of the. It's hard to get a clean lap down. You know, that's why I kind of sit in the commentator's chair instead of the sim racer's chair. But yeah, really good lap times by a lot of these drivers.
And Sir Marco, as you were saying before, with a purple sector 3, it's a green sector 4. This is going to be some way ahead, I think. This is really going to open up the gap. I'm thinking maybe 0.3 of a second he might be clear at the end of this one. No, it's only 1/10 of a second, so it was just small gains. It wasn't a personal best sector 5, but I mean, I think it was still a very good sector 5. It wasn't far from his personal best, so it was just little incremental improvements. He only improved by 1/10.5, and yet on 4 of the 5 sectors, he did improve on his previous time. So that maybe just demonstrates just how close Sir Marco is to the limit. And he'll take back to the pits. He will not complete another lap, though, as far as I can work out, because you've got to complete your lap time by the time that the ticker drops down. That's why we have 12 minutes for the pro drivers, because once their slot is up, they don't get to complete their lap time, unlike the other classes, which once they start their lap, they can complete it as long as it's within their slot. So here comes Thomas Vangen. Can he go back to the top? His first time was very good, albeit this one is a fair bit off. I wonder if he's just waiting, doing a bit like what he did in his first stint and taking it easy on his first lap and then really pushing it on his second lap, because this certainly isn't going to challenge the top.
Yeah, you need to find that there's that fine line between pushing the car and just driving the car. Because sometimes when you have that mindset of just keep on pushing the car to go faster, that's where you make your mistakes. So we'll just have to see if he's going to keep going on this qualifying attempt.
So Sir Marco's got a minute to get around. Look at Beifels moves up to second place. So Sir Marco, yeah, you know what? He will get another lap in. I was wrong when I said he wouldn't get a lap in. He's timed this perfectly here, Sir Marco. He will be the last man across the line pretty much. As Isaacson moves up to third place, David moves up to 12th. Can Edwards get up there? It's a bit of a disappointing qualifying right now for Taj Edwards. That's it for him. He will not get in another lap time. You really need to be starting a lap time around this time in order to complete it by the end. And watching Sir Marco, he has just crossed the line. He is going to cross the line to complete his next lap with about 10 seconds to spare. The German may have timed this one absolutely perfectly. And I think it's going to be Isaacson who's maybe the biggest rival, because Vangen is back to the pits. Isaacson looks like he's pushing again and setting personal best sectors. Personal best sector 1 and sector 2. This is quick for the Norwegian, but he needs to keep it up in order to make up that 2/3 of a tenth that he needs.
Yeah, with qualifying, you know, just under a minute and a half left to go, these drivers are pushing to make sure they can get to that finish line at the right time, and just making sure they can get the best lap in so they get the best starting spot possible.
Also, Oliveri is going to soon cross the line, but I think this one is looking dangerous. Biasetti as well is looking very good. Watch out for the Italian currently in 8th place. He set a few personal best sectors plus a purple sector, so the Italian might be about to storm to the top. He's going to get a nice draft as well on the run to the line. He's almost squirreling it out, but that's a very nice toe, and that might be what he needs to get to pole position, perhaps. No, it's only 7th. What an anticlimax. Oh, dear me. It wasn't a personal best final sector. I'm going to blame it on that, but maybe the lap just wasn't that good throughout. Isaacson, he's clearly not going to improve. Winkler moves up to 11th place ahead of Vey. And there's not going to be many more improvements. So Marco's still out there, but I don't think he needs to improve. Anders Meyer is out there. He's just behind Sir Marco. He's going across the line with about 5 seconds to spare in this session. Here comes Larson. He needs to at least get himself up there. He's last of the pro drivers as it stands. And that is going to be where he stays. Disappointing qualifying for him. So Marco continues. Can he go even faster? He can. And Antonino Sir Marco keeps up his 100% pole record. And that will be the last time of the session. And it was the best time of the session.
Yeah, ideally you can get that the best time of the session with time expiring, because then you have nobody who's going to be coming to try to knock you off.
Perfect stuff from Sir Marco. The gap is getting small. That's the smallest pole gap we've had for him so far this season, but he's still unbeatable. Marcus Byfeld is in second position. Then it's Isaacson, Vangen, Olivieri, Meyer with a disappointing 6th place. Remember, Meyer with 2 second places so far this season. Then it's Biasati, Fujita, Sorensen, and Rosser rounding out the top 10 and top of the Pro-Am drivers. Then it's Carl Winkler in 11th place. David Ray, a brilliant qualifying for the Hungarian. He is going for the championship, and that's exactly what he needs. He could even get within the reverse grid. Remember, top 10 get inverted for race 2, so dangerous stuff for the Fendi Racing Team driver. Then it's Stephen David, Alexander Scaret, Taj Edwards, Christopher Otterholt, Dominic Engel, Ethan Bass, Roberte Castellossi, Kieran Smart, Marcus Gunzelman, Thomas Verm, Jack Wells, Simon Moldecleave is 2nd place out of the AMS, but a long way off the pole sitter in the AMS. That's Kettle Larson, Paul Collishaw, Soren Kroll, Gordon Hogg, Yannick Willems, Simon Andre Livingston, Thomas Pugh, Jeremy De Boiver, Stuart Wyness, Timmy Nylander, Cesar Sebral, Dide De Vlamnik, Leon Lau, Navarro De Boiver, Alex Bevans, Jay Walsh, and Paul Joseph Clist rounding out the 41 cars.
Yeah, 41 cars ready to battle. That's what this track is. It's a battle, and that's, you know, I've been watching a lot of this series and trying to keep up with Watkins Glen 2 in general. Just every race that I've been watching has been so good, and I'm just excited to see another great race here. But what's cool about this one, like you said, that invert, the top 10 invert, that makes it really exciting to see some of the faster drivers have to work through a little bit of the field, and it really can put on some good passing.
Yeah, we're going to see how that one turns out in about half an hour's time, but for now it is just to decide where they're going to be starting in that second race, along with obviously a lot of points, equal points for both race 1 and race 2, despite race 2 being a little bit longer, but it's sort of counteracted by the fact that the grid isn't a proper meritocracy in the second race. This one will be very satisfying for Sir Marco. It's going to be tricky to keep his 100% winning record up tonight, but he will feel confident he can make it 4 out of 4. And we are about to get underway here at Watkins Glen. He holds the field. It's his choice when to go. And the McLaren driver still holds on. He's going to take it almost to the line. And now he gets his foot down. And we are away racing for race 1 here at Watkins Glen. It's not a brilliant launch, however, for Sir Marco. He is going to have to be covering off the inside. It's almost 3 wide behind with Anders Meyer looking to make some progress. He was very racy right away off the line. And in fact, I think Byfeld's been involved in a collision there. Is he going back onto circuit? Yes, they are potentially. Byfeld still having to go slowly, and that is Taj Edwards who got caught up in that. I don't think in the initial contact with Byfeld, but with a secondary incident when Byfeld came back onto the circuit. But Sir Marco leads the way. He has been able to pull away slightly now, and it's Niels Erik Isaacson who lines up in second. Yeah,
most of the drivers through there pretty clean, but when you're 3 wide through turn 1, you got to get the 2 wide by the S's. But a really good pack here with the lead cars, and Sir Marco has not been able to really pull away yet. I mean, he's up by 3/10, but once you get in that toe, anything can happen.
And that was a big slide there for the 111 machine. How's Biasetzi hung on to that one? He's up into 3rd place. I thought he might take pole position. I was woefully wrong on that, but he's really backing up his performance right now, because he is up 4 places and into the rostrum position. Castellozzi also up 7 places. Great start for David Bay, top of the amateur drivers. He's still top of the amateur drivers, but he's up 3 places in total, up into 9th position now as it stands. And Olivieri, Byfeld and Edwards, also Soren Kroll, the big losers out in that one. Taj Edwards, in fact, has had to tow back to the pits. Everyone else is still running as normal.
Yeah, pretty much a really good clean start. You know, just a couple incidents, but these drivers are now,
Oh, that's someone off. Where did he go? Castellozzi, where's he going to be joined? I think they got away.
If you're going to get away with going off track, that's the corner to do it, because you have a lot of track to work with. But a couple 3 wide going into.
Yeah, here we go. This is 3 wide with Castellozzi involved, who was off the circuit just a moment ago. He spins off, and now there's contact as well with, what's that, Gordon Hogg perhaps being involved. It was Hogg who had such a strong start. And other drivers will now try to scamper around, but we've got another bit of contact. Well, that could have been a lot worse. Right at the rear of the field is this one. and that was the koala car of Alex Bevins, who somehow missed the wall, I believe, but other drivers were involved, and it means that Kroll, Grabau, Edwards, and now Olivieri are all back to the pits.
Going up the hill out of turn number 1, it's kind of blind, so if you see a car there in the racing line, you kind of panic a little bit, and that's kind of what happened. But I mean, the lead pack. It's only a half second to second
Dominic
place.
Engel. Sorry to interrupt. And Kazuki Fujita. Oh, we've almost got a track blockage here. But are the drivers finding their way around? Oh, it's very, very messy. And now they are coming to pretty much a stop because, yeah, the wall's just too close to the circuit. Marcus Beifeld involved again. And everyone's going to have to cycle their way through. And I think that all originated with Kazuki Fujita spinning round.
Yeah, that's what you call a scientific parking lot out in the chute.
And this was sort of the start of the pile-up. You can see the 1, 3, 4 involved and many, many others. And yeah, pretty much just having to come to a stop. Many of those drivers, they do have a faster pair, so some of them will be able to get back on circuit. And dare I say, a lot of them just with a bit of fender damage. But there are a lot of drivers, at least 4, coming into the pit lane right now.
Yeah, that's definitely an incident. I mean, when you come to the Glen, it's very tight, and when an incident happens, oh, we got to attempt for an overtake, maybe.
Yeah, this is an attempt from Isaacson. This is a little bit of a surprise. He's been able to stay quite so as close to Samarco as he is at the moment, but this is very dangerous from him. But Samarco, the German driver, looking for 4 race wins in a row, is holding on, but Isaacson is definitely competitive enough to take the challenge tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody can get it done, Isaacson's been showing a lot of speed, able to maintain the pace, and you're just kind of buying your time, and you're really waiting for a mistake, which usually doesn't happen, but you never know. Christmas could come early.
Yeah, that could well be his best chance, but it is possible to overtake, as we've already discussed tonight. Just looking through the field, biggest gainer at the moment, Timmy Nylander. He's in 13th place, he's up 21 places. Colossal gains. And this could be a very mixed up top 10 as well. Most of our front runners have mainly got through all right, but there are still a couple of surprises. Kieran Smart up 10 places. And of course, David Bay, the amateur driver, up in 6th place overall. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, Bay having a solid run. It's all about the start. You got to get through the first couple laps. I mean, if you get caught behind an incident here, you're kind of out of luck.
We're going to try to find the origins of this incident once again. So it's Fujita on the outside, and it's one of the IGL inside, and just understeers a little bit out. Fujita back into the circuit, and then you can see the Porsche ahead, and yeah, it's not really a case of, well, there's a lot of drivers approaching very, very quickly, and then it's just a narrow circuit. The walls are very close to the side of this track, and we usually see it in the S's amidst the Avery, but that whole boot section is constant, where the walls are always a couple of meters away only.
Yeah, not a lot of space there. It happens, but you know, the nice thing is you get a fast repair, clear your mind, get some good laps in it, and then kind of get ready for the next race. You just kind of as a practice session if you're involved in one of those crashes.
Another Belgian who's doing well along with Yannick Willems, Stide de Vlamnik. He is up 20 places as it stands, and is up into 16th ahead of Thomas Pugh. Behind that, Alex Bevins for Koala. It's just Koala. I want to say Koala Racing, but Alex Bevins just drives for Koala, which is one of the nicest words to say. And I do thoroughly recommend it to all of you back at home and Avery as well. Everyone just calm down. With these drivers maybe a little bit frustrated with what's happened. Say the word Koala, and everything seems a lot better. He's up 14 places, and considering that he was almost in the wall early on through the S's, is quite a result for the American driver. However, I did see him go a little bit slow. I think he's been caught by Thomas Firm.
Yeah, I'm already relaxed after you said that word a couple times, so it works.
So Marco is not getting away. It's only 0.2 of a second still. Isaacson close, Biasetti close, Meyer close, and Vangen. And it's a bit of a gap back to Vey. So Marco's defence so far not being penetrated. Well, another 20 minutes or so of this race still to come. Might be a change actually for third place in the AMS. Timmy Nylander under huge pressure from Simon Andre Livingston. Nylander did actually start behind, but he was able to get ahead earlier on. I think the positions are going to be swapped back very soon though. Even if it's not here, it does look like Livingston is a whole lot faster. But for now, the Street Trends Racing driver is staying ahead, and actually the other Street Trends Sim Racing driver, Marcus Beifeld, will be catching them hand over fist due to this bike.
Yeah, with the different manufacturers of the cars, that makes a big difference on what's better in the straights and what's better in the corners. And we got a big run. Is Nylander going to be able to defend?
Does not look like it, albeit a little bit cautious on the brakes there is Livingston. And you can see how Beifeld is much faster than these drivers. He could take it 3 wide, and seeing that one of his teammates is, or one of the drivers is his teammate, he would feel maybe a bit more confidence than no one to do that. No need to, though. He's past Livingston, and he will soon be past Nyland. How Beifeld has got through these first few laps clean. Remember, he was involved in a crash on the exit of turn 1, on lap 1. And he was then involved in that big shunt that we saw at the heel, apologies, at the toe. But he's been fine. That car maybe with 3 scrapes on it, but he's still very much thundering around this Watkins Glen circuit. He's back up to 12th place. Meanwhile, Isaacson closer than ever to the race leader, but not close enough to go for a move. It's not a big braking zone there, but at least you can run around the outside. The outside line is particularly grippy, it seems, around that corner, and so even if you do defend the inside, you haven't necessarily covered off the overtake.
Yeah, right. It's all about trying to cover the spots when you can, but it is kind of tough to overtake here. But we've seen, going down the back straight, going into the outer loop, having an attempt. So, just kind of a waiting game for now. It's still a little bit early. I don't think Isaacson's got the speed to pull away, so maybe that's why he's trying to just wait a little bit, just try to run some clean laps, and if an opportunity happens to come up, then he'll make the move, but probably just in chill mode right now.
Saying quality and so time after time. Trying not to be too obsessed with the track position because, yeah, he is in a good place at the moment. Further back, Timmy Nylander being caught by Kettle Larson. Larson's about to overtake there. Also, I think Paul Joseph Clist may have just got past Navarro de Boiver, or maybe de Boiver's just got past Paul Joseph Clist in that case. So we've now got 2 de Boivers next to one another. Much appreciated, guys. Very frustrating, those two, that they are fairly similar in terms of pace. But this was the other battle that we were talking about, and Larson did get past Nylander. Next up, he'll be trying to get past Livingston and see Marcus Beifeld, who we saw overtake those 2 drivers just 1 lap ago, already sprinting away. But these guys are going to be close to the reverse grid. In fact, the reverse grid place might be reverse grid pole might be quite interesting. Paul Collishaw in 10th place, only 5 seconds up the road. As a Pro-Am, I think we could see any one of Collishaw, Willems, Beifeld or Larson take that crucial 10th place, as Isaacson seemingly has been able to get past Antonino Samarco. And this would be the first time all season that Samarco's not leading, but it's been denied. And second place has been denied from Isaacson as well, because Christian Biasetti moves up to the runners-up spot.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you try to make an attempt, because like what just happened to Isaacson, tried to make a pass, ended up losing a spot, but still in a really good spot with, we're almost to the halfway point, but here's a good battle here, overshooting the corner a little bit.
So hoping that Bass was just going to send it in there and then somehow be able to tuck it back in, but it wasn't the case. He at least stayed ahead of Clist, but he will have to get it done on Navarro de Boiver all over again. Just a matter of time. So he does get past. Here he goes. Earlier on, Bass had to come into the pits. He actually pitted on lap 2 of this race to take his faster pair. That's why he's further back. But he is the leader of the drivers who have come into the pits. And out of the 41 drivers who started this race, you do still have 37 of them racing along. Fujita, Sorensen, Cabral, and Edwards, the retirees so far in this event.
Yeah, I don't think Bass is technically sitting in a bad spot, but needs to get some clean track, and he has some clean track with the next driver in front of him. Is a 7-second gap, but if he could really click off some good laps and maybe some stuff happens in front of him, he could maybe get up the top 10. But that's a big maybe.
He's not going to be that far away from it by the end. I mean, he is 17 seconds back right now, but I think he's going to be a good half a second a lap faster. So I think within sort of 10 seconds by the end of the race, but you'd need a lot of stuff to happen, preferably to these top guys, in order to switch that around. This is a fascinating race. With how dominant Sir Marco has been, and people who haven't watched this season so far, he really has been in a league of his own. Sure, Anders Meyer was able to stay within a few seconds of him at Road America, but Meyer's going very slow. It's almost as though he had like a sticky brake or something there, just absolutely not pulling out of the corner. And well, he's nearly lost 4th position there, and he might lose 4th position to Thomas Vangen, but Meyer holds on. And well, that was very unusual. Did he get a poor exit or something? Did you see?
Yeah, he looked like he wasn't able to get onto the throttle as early, but you really want to spend. I know these drivers want to keep battling for positions, but the more they battle for 4th, the further away 1st, 2nd, and 3rd comes. So we'll see if they stick in line and try to catch back up.
Charles Bushell puts in a very relevant comment saying, "Can't believe it, never seen Ethan in anything but a Ford." As I did see De Vlamnik drop down the order. I think that might be a secondary incident. I think he initially had a bit of a spin, or half spin, and then he's had a full spin there. He's down to 24th place. But Charles, the Ford isn't allowed in this series, so that's why he's not in there. Otherwise, I'm sure he would be. We've also got PJ Clysons, who races in this series, and I think he's very much a big fan of the Ford as well. Klist trying to rejoin the circuit, and well, he's still off the circuit, but that's progress. That's also a wall, but he will rejoin. Should be in 25th place unless Scarrett just passes him in just a moment's time. There goes Scarrett. He is passed.
Yeah, back up to the lead. It's still that, five car group, and 10 minutes to go in the race. You take a look by lap. They're pretty much equal. One's a little bit quicker than the other, but when you're sitting in the draft, you're braking a little bit early, and just so you don't run the guy over, and just trying to maintain a good pace. So I still think we're about 7 minutes away before he really tries to. These drivers try to make some moves.
Yeah, I think the only concern for Biasati is just in case someone sends it behind. That's maybe the protection that you do have when you're in the lead. But that McLaren so far is holding on strong. He's quarter of a second. He's not even a quarter of a second. Look at that run. I mean, if Biasati doesn't get past here, I don't know what he needs to do. If anything, he might actually be a bit too close, because you can't get alongside through the S's. So I wonder if he just lifted off the throttle, or maybe it's just that McLaren's really quick. But this is going to be a good launch, because now he's in the slipstream and you can really start gaining. The gap on the left side of the screen is coming down, but it's not a whole lot. That McLaren is slippery in a straight line. He covers off the middle of the circuit. Biasetti thinks of going all the way to the inside, but opts out of it. And now he needs to carry as much speed as he possibly can on the outside. He just had to get out of the throttle slightly mid-corner. It really looked like he might be able to send it, but it didn't quite happen for him. And he does remain in second place. So it seems like Samarco isn't really very quick out there, but his straight line speed is keeping him the race lead right now.
Yeah, I mean, roles reverse a couple laps ago. Isaacson did the same thing and lost a spot, but the order maintains the same. So I would say he got pretty lucky to maintain second.
A couple of other bouts going on. Jeremy De Boyve being caught by Timmy Nylander. Oh geez, or is that? No, that's De Boyve that just came past Nylander. He was a second fast on that last lap, so he's ahead. Meanwhile, the Navarre Ferrari is ahead of Stewart's. Oh, no, that's Kieran Smart. That is Kieran Smart on the outside. And Kieran Smart does move past. Big fan of that livery, by the way. Track Scotland, very established team in sim racing, but is quite a unique one with the green. But I'm a big fan of it. What would you give it as a score, Avery, out of 10?
Score, 1 out of 10. I don't really go with even 7, 8s, or 9s because it's kind of rookie numbers. I'm going to give that a 7.8 on the
nice
scale.
one. Yep,
and
yep.
that's a really good score because, I mean, I've seen some really good liveries, and that's getting up there. I mean, it has the potential, maybe a little bit of flair, make it up into like the 8.4s or something. So, yeah, try to keep it in the decimals for the professionalism of the ranking.
And we appreciate that. Antonino Samarco is barely ahead, and then once again we're going to have a nice flurry down to the carousel. Can the speed be carried around this time? It's looking very good, you know what, for Biasati, but again Samarco is just clear and manages to cover off the inside. This might be a good run for Anders Meyer, actually. He's apologies for Niels Erik Isaacson, but it was Meyer who hold on to the position. Here comes Biasati again. He is starting to get aggressive now as Meyer tries to take back the second place that he lost earlier on in this event, but he wasn't able to get past. Apologies, it was Isaacson who was second place earlier on, and Vang is now right with these guys. Top 5, 9/10 separating them.
Yeah, it's still super close, and you know, only over 18.5 minutes gone in this race, and we're getting close to that go time to where it's time to start making some moves. And you don't want to go too early. You don't want to really show your move, but we'll see what happens here. It's starting the gap a little bit between Meyer and Isaacson, but still plenty of race left to wait. Just 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, now there's a change between the teammates, IGL Coatings, eRacing. So Isaacson, who was fighting for the lead only 10 minutes ago, he's down to 5th position, but I think they believe that Thomas Vangen has a better potential to get onto the rostrum, and so they have switched the positions around again. It is very much a replica of what we've seen the last 3 laps, but Biasetti is close again. So Marco, despite not having the draft of anyone ahead of him, is still so competitive on these straights. Biasetti does the same move as what he's tried time and time again. It's really the only move that he can try. This time he's almost alongside. I believe he might be alongside, but again Samarco just swishes to the left side of the circuit to cover it off. Here comes Meyer trying to find some grip on the outside. He can't manage to make it, and again that swipe across, once one of these drivers is clear, they immediately cover off the middle of the circuit for the next corner, and there is still no change in this top 3.
Yeah, Samarco just not making mistakes as we go on board with Meyer, and he's sitting in 3rd, and we see some really good moves going, you know, into the outer loop, but man, Samarco is just driving so perfect right now, but anybody can make mistakes, so we'll just have to see what happens.
It's just a case of maybe, of course, a mistake, as you say, and just it would be the tiniest of mistakes, because all Biasetti needs, he just needs an extra ½ meter on the carousel, and then he's got it. Because once he's alongside, coming out of the carousel, then he's got the inside for the chutes, and at that point he's definitely a favourite to come out on top, but he just hasn't quite been able to keep himself partially alongside. But he's going to try it again, and this time he's 0.2 of a second back. I think that's a good distance back. He can generate the speed here, but Samarco pulls away up through the S's. That McLaren has so much speed. Meyer will get close as well. You can see he's gaining in this BMW. We could even have 3 wide potentially by the end of this straight, because Meyer's got terrific speed. We saw him really struggling earlier on in the final sector of the lap, but this time he is motoring along. He's going to go to the outside. Biasetti thinks of going to the outside, but he's going to try to go for it now, Meyer. He'll certainly get one of them. He's going to even try to get for the lead as well, but brilliant driving there from Anders Meyer to move back up into 2nd position, and he can have another shot of Antonino Samarco, just like he did at Road America.
Yeah, but Meyer's got company. We'll see if he can maintain 2nd. He's so far in this race, he's been the fastest driver on the outside of the carousel and able to maintain that pace. So if he gets alongside Samarco, we might see a position change, but the gap's kind of grown just a little bit.
It certainly does seem like Meyer has got better straight line speed than what the Porsches have had, who have had a go. Remember, Isaacson had a go earlier on in the race. Biasetti had a go, and of course, we just saw as well, Vangen move past Biasetti as well. So Biasetti now drops to 4th place, but dare I say, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening ahead of them in the remaining laps of this race. We're going to cross the line with 2.5 minutes to go. So we've got 2 more laps to go. And dare I say, I think this time around, Maya's going to be too far back. He wants to be Maya within quarter of a second coming out of turn 1. This time he's way too far back. He's over 0.4 of a second behind. So whilst he might be able to drag a bit closer, he's not going to be close enough. But it's Vangen who's now looking like the fastest driver. We've had 3 different drivers in second place so far. We might have a 4th because Vangen is looking very competitive up the hill.
Yeah, Vangen having a really good run. I mean, just only up 1 spot, but when you start 4th, how much further can you go? But he's got a good toe here, but not going to be enough to make a move. So just got to try to inch your way closer. But Meyer got, within just over 1/10 of a second. So if we get the white flag this time, anything can happen.
Huge disappointment for Eric Rosseth, who has come into the pits from 9th position. Rosseth was on course for a front row start for race 2, but he's had to come into the pits, maybe underfueled the car, and he will plummet down the order. That means that Beifeld, who was able to get past Collishaw earlier on, he's up into 9th place. Collishaw still in 10th, but it is close between him, Willems, and Larson for reverse grid pole as the move in the background. IGL Coatings trying to get back up there. Biasati versus Isaacson. That was the battle for 2nd and 3rd earlier on. Is now the battle for 4th and 5th. They hanging on to the amateur lead in 6th place overall, as now a few mistakes starting to creep in for Biasati. But right now, with the white flag being waved, it doesn't look good for anyone but Antonino Samarco, because the gap is growing. And whilst maybe that BMW's got a bit more straight line speed, whilst it's got more overtake potential, Maya has not been able to weaponize it to really attack Samarco in the corners, and Samarco's got a comfortable lead, and as long as he continues his impeccable driving that he's performed so far for the last 24.5 minutes, he will be safe to take his 4th race win of the season.
I mean, when it came to the carousel last lap, it was a 1/10 gap, and then Samarco, it was pulled away when it came to the other parts of the track, and you see the gap tightening from the straight line speed and the toe of Meyer, but just not enough time left. Oh, here comes a move by Vangen.
Yeah, he gets alongside. If he can hold this one, Meyer will have the inside for the shoots, and that's exactly what he's been able to achieve. But he'll be offline, and you know what? He doesn't care, does Vangen? He's just going to send it, and how easy was that? So much more confidence for the Porsche driver, and you do have to wonder, perhaps all these Porsches in the top 5 perhaps have better pace than Maya and Samarco in this race, but it's the straight line speed for Samarco which has kept him in the lead. Meanwhile, Maya's dropped down to 5th position. It's going to be a disappointing result for Maya, who I think may have underfueled because he's really struggling now in these closing stages. Has he got even enough fuel to get to the line? I don't think he's going to get within the reverse grid. A disappointment for Anders Meyer, who did a somersault back at Fuji. That was his most disappointing result so far this season, and this will not be too far off it. But this man, who has been unbeaten so far this season in qualifying and the races, he's going to keep it up, and boys, it's going to be tricky starting in 10th place in race 2 tonight. But in race 1 at least, he continues to win. It is the German driver on Antonino Samarco who takes another race victory ahead of Vangen and Biasati. They finishes top of the AM drivers. Otto Holt will finish top of the Pro-Am drivers. Meyer has gone into the pits. Now, why has he gone into the pits? Or has he towed back? He's had to tow back Meyer. He will finish last of the drivers who finished on the lead lap, which will put him down in 33rd position, as far as I can work out. Huge disappointment for a man who's finished on the podium twice so far this season. And in 10th position was Yannick Willems. So Willems will start on pole position. We'll have 2 Pro-Ams and 2 AMs in the inverted grid. And what an opportunity that will be for the Belgian driver to lead us round later on, as the remaining few drivers cross the line right now.
Yep, to finish first, you must first finish. The immortal words. So I think he's going to put a little more fuel in for the a little bit longer race for sure.
Well, it's the first 25-minute race we've had this season, and I think it caught a few of our drivers out, and that has caused a little bit of a mix-up, and we will have confirmation of the results soon as to exactly where Meyer finished. But yeah, 33rd position is what it is looking like for him at the moment. And he will start in 33rd position. That's why it hurts so much. It destroys his first race, and it has destroyed his second race as well. A huge disappointment for the Norwegian driver. But all the drivers are across the line now, and we should be able to go through the results. We've got a 3-minute break between race 1 and race 2, and we'll take a little bit of that to go through the results here. So Marco wins ahead of Vangen, Biasate, and Isaacson. So we had 4 different drivers, I think, run in second place at some point in the race, but none of them could pass Samarco. David Vey finished in 5th position. Amazing result. I think he will now be top of the Amateur Championship. Then it was Carl Winkler, Christopher Otterholt, Marcus Beifelt, Paul Collishaw, and Yannick Willems takes the reverse grid pole. Kessel Larsen will be disappointed. He was just 0.8 of a second back through that comeback drive, but he wasn't quite able to get that coveted 10th place. Behind him was Livingston, Jeremy De Boyver, Ethan Bass, Thomas Pugh, Kieran Smart, Eric Rosset, Timmy Nylander in 18th place, and then it was Wyness and Wells and many others. I won't go through everyone, I won't bore you through all the names, but there is the result for the 41 drivers, and 37 of them being able to reach the checkered flag at least. But yeah, how do we rate Samarco's chances of winning this race to Avery? It certainly looks like he's got the fastest car on circuit on the straights, but those Porsches, from what I could see, they looked faster, but they just didn't have the raceability to pass him at any point.
Well, one thing we've seen in the first race is he's only been in clean air. We'll have to see how his car works in the dirty air. I think he'll be okay from a car standpoint, but you never know. I mean, we've seen it in the first race. If you're, 6th on back, anything could happen. So we'll just have to wait and see. I like his chances of moving up the field. I just like to see how he handles going through the outer loop side by side, trying to make a pass for the lead. So yeah, we never know. But the one thing I want to point out was you said Ethan Bass was going to be within 10 seconds of the 10th position. He was within 11.
Okay, this is the expertise that you get, when you do enough broadcasts. When you've won all the championships that I have, that you can nail this stuff. So thank you for pointing that one out. I will give a quick shout out to one of the sponsors for this series and for this broadcast, Apex Racing Academy, who produce over 20 data packs for a variety of cars on iRacing, whether that be GTs like the ones that you're seeing out here today, or other tin tops or single seaters, rallycross cars, even lots of stuff covered by Apex Racing Academy, and that includes setups and track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, and it's also integrated with VRS as well. So big thanks to Apex Racing Academy for supporting us and offering some really cool prizes as well to the top drivers in each class. You'll get some subscriptions to Apex Racing Academy in the future if they finish in the top 3 in any of the championships in this series. The grid has just ticked over, so we'll go through the top 10 again. We're not going to bore you, and I'm not going to get any more names wrong than I absolutely have to. It's Yannick Willems who starts on pole position ahead of Paul Collishaw. Then it's Marcus Beifelt looking for his first Apex Racing League victory. Christopher Otterholt, Carl Winkler, very under the radar Winkler in that race 1, but he's always finishes in the top 6. I mean, he finished 6th in that race. It was top 5 before, but always in the top 6. Great work for Winkler. Then it's Vey, Isaacson, Biasate, Vangen, and Samarco. And then everyone else is just where they finished in race 1.
Yeah, you see Ethan Bass, 10.9. I'm sorry, 10.9.
Okay.
My mental math isn't the greatest.
Well, you said within 11, so that you were right.
So we're good. One thing though with that Apex Racing Academy, I've been using that for a long time, and I might still be slow, but I am faster than I was before I was with the Apex Racing Academy. So it's a good option for drivers, and it's a good price. That's the other thing. It's It's a really good deal if you want to get faster and not maybe put as much time into the car. Like, I don't know anything about setting up a car. Only thing I know is how to drive the car slow. So it's helped me out tremendously.
You're not going to get a better testimonial than that. Yannick Willems leading us around. See how this race start is going to occur. It was fairly clean for the first few corners in race 1, just an incident with Marcus Byfeld. Starts in 3rd position for this race. One of the favourites, the top place of the pros. But the safety car is in, and the green flag is waving, and we are underway for race 2 here at Watkins Glen. Willems leads them away. Good start for Byfeld to immediately get past Collishaw, who I think might be swallowed up a little bit in these first few corners. I take that back. Collishaw absolutely sending it on the outside of turn 1. He looked very competitive and a lot of composure from the Pro-Am driver. But it's Willems who leads them up the hill for the first time. Byfeld still trying to get past Collishaw alongside through the S's. And it's 2 wider, maybe a threat of 3 wide through the S's for the first time. Carl Winkler, nice start for him. He's up into 3rd place as the chase starts on the back straight. In fact, actually, Byfeld seemingly has had a bit of a setback through the S's, because from 2nd place, he's now dropped down to 5th. And one of our favourites has had a huge back turn right there as he tries to at least recover a position against Christopher Otterholt. But it's great work from the amateur driver out in lead. Willems leads Collishaw and Winkler.
Take a look at the middle of the pack here, around the 25th position. Meyer already up 7 spots just behind these drivers. So he's making some moves. But the one driver who's still in the same starting spot, that's Samarco, who won the first race. So, you know, but you got to get through the first lap before you can start clicking off times. Makes a hard move, though.
That was a brilliant move there from Christopher Otterholt to stay ahead of Biasette, and Byfeld's just falling down. What is happening with Marcus Byfeld? Only his 2nd Apex Racing League meeting. I know he does a lot of league racing, but he is not comfortable on this race start whatsoever, and it's going very negatively for him at the moment. There you can see Samarco that you were just mentioning before, Avery, and I think you're absolutely right. No need to make too many moves right now, and he has got some very quick drivers ahead of him. Remember, he's got 2nd and 3rd from the previous race in front of him, so it's not easy to make moves up, even if you won the previous race. So Marco's trying to prove me wrong though, and he is looking at every which way to get past Vangen. As you can see, still not a whole lot of field spread in the top 37 at least, pretty much all in a line as it stands right now, separated by less than 15 seconds.
Yeah, the battle is tight. You see what Samarco did going into 1. He kind of faked it. Samarco was trying to make a move, but no, looking back to the lead, Collishaw just made a really good move on the back straight there.
Yeah, that seemed pretty simple to get past Willems at good straight line speed. And the top 3 are pulling away a little bit. Biasette now dropping back. But yeah, Samarco, you're absolutely right with him looking to make moves. But he had a bit of a setback. I think he lifted out of the throttle through the S's, and that put Bass right on his tail. Bass up 3 places from his start, and still Samarco isn't making progress. The top 3 will be loving how this race is going at the moment, albeit it is an extended race compared to race 1. 30 minutes in length for these drivers to negotiate. We're watching Marcus Gunzelman, behind him Olivieri. Olivieri up 13 places, our highest gainer so far in this event, as still Samarco has, I think he's finally got past Isaacson. It's taken him a while, it's taken him a lot of attempts, but he's up into 9th place, and that is the first man down for the McLaren driver. For reference, he's now 3.5 seconds off the lead, so this is still very much winnable for Samarco. Dare I say he's still the favourite to win this race?
Yeah, he's got a really good chance, but the lead pack is about a half a second. Winkler is ahead of Biasette in 4th. So, I mean, if you can maintain a good pace, and like when Collishaw made the pass, Willems was just like, you know what, you're faster than me. The more I fight you, the more we lose. So, but really good battle in here. Back in the 23rd place. It's still super tight. Very clean start, though, for race number 2.
And Olivier just continues to make up pace, and out 15. I can see him getting near the top 10 by the end of this one as Winkler moves past Willems. I wonder if Willems running a bit more drag. He's lost places on consecutive laps on the back straights. Closing in a little bit is Biasette. Others as well. Oh, we've got to spin around. It's Nylander and he needs to make sure he doesn't go too far down there. Otherwise, I think he gets disqualified. I think he just loses a lap, basically. But he is going to get back going. By the way, if you want to see drivers go around that route, and this is probably possibly the best segue I've ever done, watch the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup tomorrow, because that is the layout we're using. It's the classic layouts, the real classic layouts, not this classic boot. It's the NASCAR layout with no bus stop. Because that is what iRacing decided is the best test to see if people will get a World Championship license, and personally I fully agree with them. So that is going to be tomorrow for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. Some very competitive drivers in that, and that is going to be mental, because there's going to be so many overtakes. It's going to be like NASCAR, but way, way better, because it's just going to be more slipstreaming and more close and more aggressive, and lots of things. That's on Apex Racing TV tomorrow. Biasati managed to get past Williams, and he's up to 3rd position now. The Italian looking very strong. He's up 5 places from his race start.
I'll definitely be tuning in. It's going to bring me back to the late 90s when NASCAR ran the classic course before they added the bus stop. So I'm going to bring back my childhood as I enjoy the race tomorrow.
This isn't looking good for him. Oh, here we go. Collishaw going to be overtaken by Winkler here. Winkler needs to take the lead right away, and I think that is what he's going to do. So Winkler leads, and now this is the time where he needs to make this pay some clean track, whilst everyone is battling behind him. Meanwhile, Willems is down to 6th place. Ray is being able to get past, and now Vangen is going to get past, and now Beifeld's going to get past, and I think Smarko is going to get past. So Willems sort of realising that he's going to be overtaken by all these exceptionally quick drivers, and if he can stay in maybe the top 12, like in amongst the very drivers, that would be a good effort. I think that was smart from the Porsche driver. Oh, pole sitter, now down to him.
Yes, putting on a really good run. Just starting up in the pole and the invert just gives them a good chance to race with some faster guys and try to get better, you know. And you don't get better by sitting on the sim chair, sitting in like nobody around you. So that's really nice about the invert, get a run with some faster guys.
Biasati now passed into 2nd position ahead of Collishaw. Winkler is 0.6 of a second ahead. Winkler and Biasati need to work together, you have to think, in order to hold off the chasing Vangen and Beifeld and Smartco and Isaacson. Speaking of Vangen, he's going to get past They made some contact, but he only lost a little bit of time and a position that he's likely going to lose anyway to Beifeld. Albeit that's not done yet, and at least from race 1 it did look like the BMWs were a bit faster. Beifeld's almost into the wall. That was a bit of contact. He will not be happy with that 1-1 there, and he'll be glad that he could keep the limited control that he did hold on to, because any less control and he would have definitely been punching a wall with the front of that Porsche car right there. Such was his poor exit. He's almost dropping back into Willem's territory as well, albeit I think he will be able to stay ahead of this one into the chute.
Yeah, it's very tough in the S's. If you get a poor exit onto the back straight, you're just going to lose so much time. Same with Beifeld. So a good gap between about a half second between Samarco and Beifeld. So Willems is going off the pace though a little bit, but sitting 10th place, still really good run.
Yeah, almost all the pros have now got past. Ethan Bass, by the way, is like really racing. He seems to. I feel like the entire race so far for Larson and Isaacson, has just been just trying to get past them, but failing. It took Samarco a fair few laps to get past, and Bass has just been going for it absolutely every opportunity. Larson did get past Willems there, and now Bass is losing a bit of time, being held up behind. Jack Wells, was former Apex Racing League Prototype champion in the LMDH AM category. He's there in 13th place. And here's Emmanuel Olivieri. He's up 19 places now. He's only 10 seconds off the leaders, Olivieri, and he started in 37th place. What a drive from the Italian. And he could get into the top 10, honestly, at this rate. I think the likes of Willems and Bass will be catchable for Olivieri, who is having an absolute storming drive for GE Esports Racing Team.
Yeah, putting on a really good run. Like you said, up 19 spots. That's in only 9 minutes. That's super impressive, and there hasn't been a big one yet. So, I mean, that's done a very good job for him. But, yeah, really good racing so far. almost 10 minutes into this 30-minute race number 2.
Back to one of my favourite liveries of on the track, Kieran Smart, and he is the next victim for Emmanuel Olivieri, who does a brilliant dummy, but I'm not sure if he pulled it off perfectly. The move was certainly on, but it looked like he missed the apex slightly. That was maybe one too many for Olivieri. He does drop a position in all of that, and being hurt there was Kieran Smart, who drops to the pits, and that will most likely be the end of his day. Winkler, 0.4 of a second ahead still, just set his personal best lap of the race. These guys are crucially still pulling away from the rest of the field. And interestingly, Bay is still ahead of Samarco. So Samarco now 3.2 seconds behind. We've got 20 minutes to go. And I think anyone out of about 6 drivers could win this race still.
Oh yeah, it's still anyone's race with, you know, a third of the race down, 2/3 to go. But yeah, the top 2 are pulling away. They have a second gap, but if they start racing, I mean, the gap is going to shrink. So, you know, if you're the top 2, you just kind of ride it out to about 27 minutes, and then you start battling. But really good run for Vi, especially still maintaining a 6th place, but he's trying to catch up to this group.
This is a battle between the teammates, sort of. They're not technically the exact same team, but they're both IGL. So Vangen moves ahead of Otterholt. It did seem like Vangen was faster than Otterholt in race 1. At least he got a better position than his Norwegian compatriots, and just set pretty much the fastest lap of anyone. It's not the absolute fastest lap of the race, but of everyone on the previous lap, Vangen was the fastest. He was actually 0.25 seconds faster than the race leaders. You can see how he's immediately latched onto Collishaw. He was having a brilliant race at the moment, is Paul Collishaw. Probably the best I've ever seen Paul drive, and his race 1 performance was very strong as well. To hold on to 9th position the way he did. And also his profile picture is excellent as well. He cuts out the background. We do appreciate that. Of course, go to SDK -game.co.uk in order to upload your picture by downloading the free driver information app, which you can download on that site. But I don't think, whilst Collishaw is driving very well, he's going to be able to hold off Vangen, who will be able to pick and choose where he makes the move. Probably not into turn 1. He'll wait till the carousel.
Yeah, Collishaw putting on that really good run. You know, he wants to stay in front of Vangen just because it's the driver behind him, another Pro-Am. So, but really good run. Try to get that podium in the overall. But a little bit wide there in the S's. That's going to hurt him on speed. I'm going to probably see an overtake here, guessing. I'm not really good at guessing, though, because, you know, they make a commentator's curse, so I'm just going to zip it for about 10 seconds.
Well, let's see what happens. I don't think Vangen's got very good straight line speed, but he's got enough straight line speed here to me passing Collishaw. He's a smart driver. He knows when a fight is not worth battling, and so he just drops down to 4th position. There are some very good battles elsewhere going on out on circuits, just being very busy near the front. But if we just tune into Stu and David, just getting past Simon Aldercleave, that one's alongside for the outer loop, and that's a crash into the wall. And Aldercleave, I mean, you wonder why you use the chicane in this, and that's why, because there was no runoff area at that corner, and that is what would happen pretty much in real life. Maybe a couple less flips, but fairly similar, because that was a huge crash. Dominic Engel as well, battling with Taj Edwards. This could be a battle for 2nd place, honestly, and yet it is a battle for 27th place. Navarro de Boiva is now ahead of them. In fact, Engel's only up 2 places, so he must have had an issue, Engel. Oh dear, and that's Taj Edwards now with an issue. And he is having a miserable day, is Edwards, who I think had an incident on lap 1 in race 1, and he's just been trying to recover ever since.
Yeah, so like with the bus stop that was put in place in 1992 after the season before with J.D. McDuffie died in an incident at the same spot. So that's kind of why they added it. So it's, like you said, definitely for safety, because you know, like Jimmy Johnson back in the day lost his brakes going into 1, just think if he would have lost his brakes going into the carousel. So good safety matter here, but man, a good battle for you know, the amateur right in front of Oliveira and having a really good run.
Yeah, hasn't been making much, but Collishaw's heading in, and I think David Vey, and that's in an awful spot on the circuit. Are they going to be able to avoid? Pull, tow, no, he's not towing, he's going to try to get going. To be fair, there's decent visibility for the other drivers, and now he tries to get away, but he didn't seem to accelerate. Not sure what's going on. Now he does tow, and I think that was the best we could have hoped for. Vey dropped, I think, 2 places in that. It must have been Vey trying to pass Collishaw for maybe 4th position. It means that Sir Marco has got past both those drivers. Let's see how close Sir Marco was in that McLaren to hitting these drivers. Oh, it's just a little bit of a mistake from Collishaw, makes him go slow. And it was 3 places gained, in fact, because I think Otterholtz and Isaacson may have been held up as well. So Sir Marco gained 3 places easily. He's up into 4th place and only 4.3 seconds off the lead. Very winnable once again for the McLaren driver, albeit I think right now the top 3 are looking fairly comfortable.
Yeah, now we're going to see what Sir Marco's got speed. He's got pretty much clean track, about 1.5 seconds gap between him and 3rd. So we'll have to see what this lap gets, because if it's going to be a best lap of the session, then he might have a chance. But the problem is, it's one thing to catch one, it's another one to pass it.
That might be what Biasetti is feeling right now, because he has been close to Winkler for the entire race, but we haven't seen him really get that close. And of course, you made the point earlier on how you don't necessarily want to be battling at this point. You want to be battling in the last 3 minutes. I think that would certainly be wise, but honestly, I think Biasetti just hasn't had the chance. I think if he felt he was faster, he would maybe go for it. And in an effort to keep them away from the rest of this getting close today. I think he's just got back past Otterholtz there as Vey. Amazing stuff. And Byfeld now goes through as well after the awful start for the Swedish driver. I think he's starting to find his mojo a bit back now. And there is a bit of a divide now forming with Sir Marco chasing after the top 3. Isaacson, dare I say, might pull away in 5th place, and then this battle between Vey and Byfeld, Otterholtz, Larson, and probably Bass, and maybe even others will probably rage on for the remaining 13 minutes of this race to the end.
Yeah, Bass putting on a really good run, up 4 spots. But Jack Wells up 6 spots, and that a really good spot for him in the Pro-Am. So really good run here. It's a good battle for the 19th position.
Yeah, Fujita just getting past Jeremy De Boiver. And he's got Olivieri and Gunzelman ahead. Dare I say, Fujita's going to struggle to gain any more places to the end of this race. It's going to be for him. Eric Rosseth, by the way, in 15th position. Just a reminder that Rosseth was running in 9th position until the latter stages of race 1, when he seemingly underfueled the car and had to make an extra pit stop. I do think if Rosseth had started on the front row, he'd be not too far off these guys at the front. So very much a what if for Eric Rosseth for Racing Lab Esports right now. As Vey maintains the 6th position again, but it was very close between him and Byfeld. As here comes the move perhaps for Biasetti. He's got past. Winkler didn't cover it into the chute. And we have got a new leader, our 4th different leader, apologies, so far in this race. And it is Christian Biasetti, up 7 places, and he is the man in the box seat now.
I think he was looking at the relative there, because Vangen was catching up the last couple laps by about 0.4 of a second, and Biasetti's probably like, I might be a little bit quicker. I want the clean air, and I'll see if he can pull away, because the gap is shrinking from 3rd to the front 2.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and it gives him the best chance if he is faster in order to hold on. That of course does mean that Winkler will be the first to be caught later on, albeit I'd say I'm not sure if Winkler will necessarily put up that much of a fight against Vang. He's not necessarily the... Oh, we've got a car in the wall. That is Soren Kroll, and that could be a pit stop required, because that was a few big hits into both corners on the right side of the car. Does he make a beeline for the pits here? It'd be dangerous if he did, because you have to slow down in order to get into the pits. Seemingly, Kroll just continues around, so he might have a bit of aero damage, but that Beast Racing car is going to continue as long as he possibly can. It has dropped him a couple of places.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of, you know, light contact. Well, he only had a couple laps to figure out, a couple corners to figure out if he needed to pit, but I kind of like the move staying out, because if you happen to, you know, lose a little pace, you just pull over, let people go by, and make your way to the pits. But I like that move.
This is going to be a very long 10 minutes for David Vey, because every single lap, I felt, gets within a tenth of a second into the car. So it's very much similar to Sir Marco in race 1. But the straight line speed of that car is keeping him in form right now. I'm not an expert on the GT3, so of course correct me, Avery, if I'm wrong. Correct us on the YouTube chat. But it does seem like the Porsche cars in this race do seem to be a fair bit slower on the straights, not quite as raceable, whilst the BMWs and the McLarens, I think the McLaren has always been a bullet down the straights. The BMW does look a fair bit stronger. And so maybe the Porsches have been the fastest, and to be fair, Biasati was able to get past Winkler, but in the most raceable cars has maybe been the BMW and the McLaren. But please correct me someone if I'm wrong.
Yeah, please chat, correct him if he's wrong, because I don't know either. So I like driving the Porsche myself just because I'm more comfortable with it, but I'm not the kind of driver that's taking the car to the limits, so we'll just have to see. But good battle here for 6th position overall.
Well, it was a decent test of the straight line speed, wasn't it? And neither of them necessarily pulled way ahead of the other. Looks like Vey is going to lose this one, so Byfeld. But now he can dip back into the draft and then generate a bit of momentum. I think he's a bit too close. I think the man who's going to come out on top in this one is Otterholt. So as long as the track is wide enough, it's not the absolute widest in the world, but it's decently so. And is there a place where he can put that BMW where he's not going to crash? He decides to just hang out with it, and I think that's the wise thing to do. So, outside line, we've seen this work a fair few times so far, and it's worked again. David Vey, brilliant defence, and he absolutely used every inch of the circuit and a little bit more to hold on to 6th position. Behind them, Olivieri's up to 14th. He's got past Jack Wells. And Jack Wells has dropped another place now to his teammate. So an issue for the British driver. He's dropped another one now to Fujita, and it'll be tough to keep behind Gunzelman as well. Not sure what's happened to the 282, but our 3rd place in the championship is dropping down, and now dropping down as well as Gunzelman, but he just kept it within the perimeter of the circuit, and he maintains 18.
Yep, just under 8 minutes to go here, Sam, and just some really good racing. I mean, Olivier up 24 positions. Like, when you come to Watkins Glen, it's so hard to pass, as we've seen, but just to make up 24 spots.
Crash in the background.
Oh, crash in the back. Ooh.
One of the Beast Racing cars, Soren Kroll, that's the same corner they had an instant earlier on, and there's another little bit of a collection of cars here. Hopefully they can sort themselves out before more cars start coming across, and here come those extra cars. But it looked like, was it both? Was it both Beast Racing cars? Or did... Yeah, I think it was actually. Kroll was certainly involved. And Fujita, I think, was involved. And we've got a couple of cars coming into the pits. Scarrett as well. That's disappointing for Scarrett. I think he was joint top of the Pro-Am Championship going into this round. And now we've got 3 wide as well into turn 1. But let's have a replay of what happened. So this was Fujita, and this was Kroll ahead of him. And it's just the tiniest of taps to begin with. And then the other Beast Racing car, Jack Wells, comes in, and then everyone just cannot avoid. Gordon Haug, I think that was, did a great job, but he ended up getting slammed as well. And it was only about 8 cars later that they started to be able to have enough time to react and to move past it all.
Yeah, a little bit of contact, especially in that corner. It's kind of tough to make it through there, but still some really good racing throughout this whole entire field.
And this is more of the same. Liao, who we haven't seen too much of, in 5th place out the AMS, as Vangen moves past Winkler. Now, I said that Winkler may not fight this one too hard, and my point was mainly that he's a very sensible driver, very experienced driver. Scott Winkler maybe done... Oh, no, we got another crash. And maybe we cut away out of Leo at just the right time. And that's Kroll again. Krolling's having a nightmare. Certainly the first one wasn't his fault earlier on, Kroll, and that's not a brilliant retron, but it's all right. Fortunately, no one missed the apex. Scarrett moves back past him. who was involved in the other incident as well. But that was all very, very messy. It nearly killed the cameraman as well. I think the cameraman was hanging over the barrier, like the dangerous maverick that he is. And oh yeah, nearly got ran over by a Mercedes.
Yeah, it happens when it gets close to the wall. But man, this battle for the lead, the last lap, first and second, they were equal. But like the 3 or 4 laps before that, Vangen was like 3/10, 4/10 quicker. So he's in a really good spot. So we'll see what happens if he can able to catch up. I mean, I think he'll catch up because of the toe, but you just got to time it right to where you get on that back straight and you just get a nice overtake attempt into the outer loop, but you got to get a good run to make sure you get it into the left side going into the chute. So we'll just have to wait and see. Still 5 minutes to go in the race, a couple laps left, so we'll see if he can catch up.
Would be very satisfying for Vangen. He's been pushing every lap of this race so far. I remember finishing second place in race 1. He would be the highest point scorer if he could win this race. As Yannick Willems is dropping down. I'm not sure what happened to him there. Maybe a spin on the exit of the hill. Deciding to make a few extra corners as well. Behind was Jack Wells, who was a lap down. But slaloming about, maybe trying to get some heat into his tyres, or maybe some frustration out of his system. Unfortunately, Alex Bevins, who of course drives for Koala, is not particularly close to him on circuit, so he won't be able to see that name and calm him down. Ray needs to keep his cool as well, because this one has been just the same lap over and over again. But he has had good pace, to be fair, Ray. It's not as though Bass has been able to exactly catch onto the back of this train, and even Larson is struggling to keep tabs as well. By Feltz, I think he's too far back here. 0.3 of a second behind, and not going to be close enough. But out in the lead, this is getting quite interesting. Vangen not far away now. We've got 2 more laps after this.
Yeah, a good battle between the top 3, but who's actually in a really good spot potentially is Samarco, because if the top 3 get into an incident, he's in the perfect spot. But yeah, it's a three-car battle for the lead. Like I said, just a couple laps.
Oh, he
big send.
There we go. He was not anticipating that one bit, was Biasati, but the move is not complete yet, because now having to defend right to the inside is Vangen, but Biasati is slightly alongside, and he'll be able to fight back into the heel as they go alongside. Winkler looking to take advantage of this as well. But dare I say, there might be an advantage here, as almost onto the grass, they're leaving each other absolutely zero room. That's how competitive this race is. And Vangen has been able to get the move done, and it started with a dive, and it ended with a bit of aggression on corner exit. But it's the Norwegian who leads the way with 2 laps to go at Watkins Glen.
When the opportunity comes, you have to grab it, and that's what Vangen did to take over the lead. So, yeah, really good run. But the race is not over yet. I mean, there's still plenty of time left for another overtake for the lead, or possibly second. So, some really good 3-car battling. And was, we were talking this race, and we were mainly expecting the pass to be on the back straight. We were wrong.
Yeah. I mean, he was so far back, wasn't he? But he must have identified on previous laps that he was taking a slightly wide line into the toe, which is possible. Oh, that's a little bit of a move across, as Winkler's got the best straight line speed of any of these 3 drivers. He's going to be close to the race lead when they get into the carousel, but this is going to potentially help Vangen out big time, as Winkler goes way too wide. He's way offline, and he will have to have another go at it. Doesn't seem to have the straight line speed to necessarily get the pair of them on the back straight, which I think might be necessary because the corners just doesn't seem to quite have the same performance. Biasetti's going to try to desperately go for the same move. He would absolutely love to do it. He's going to try to do it into the toe, but it wasn't quite on, because Vangen was taking a tighter line, and that has helped the Norwegian to pull away by a couple of tenths of a second.
Yeah, I like the attempt by Biasetti to try to make that move, because, I mean, it happened to him. Why can't we reverse the roles? But still a really good run for him, though.
So Vangen just a little bit further away than he was this time last lap, and that might be enough. I don't think there's a big pace difference, but Vangen may be the slightly stronger driver across the race. Biasetti was able to take the lead at the 20-minute mark, but Vangen continues to pull away. The gap's up to half a second, And with 1 lap to go, there is very little that can stop the Norwegian now. He's just set his personal best lap of the race of 42.83. To be fair to Biasati, he's just set his personal best lap of the race. He probably just picked up a 1x as well by going that wide through turn 1, but he doesn't care. They got 20 to use, and he's not close to the instant limit, it seems. 3.5 tenths of a second the gap is at the moment. He's certainly going to get himself in range for an attempt at the boot section. But honestly, you can see on the left side of the screen, the gap isn't coming down significantly. And surely it's only a mistake from Thomas Vangen, which will deny him race victory from this point.
Yep, if you're Biasetti, you got to keep on the pressure. Try to force Vangen into making a mistake. Clean through the outer loop, goes into the chute. Really good corner entrance, able to get out of it very well. So clean all the way through so far.
Just a handful more corners to survive. By the way, Samarco is under huge pressure from Isaacson, but it looks like he's going to hold on to 4th position. Remember, Samarco, the winner of the first 4 races of the season. And whilst he will have a perfect record when it comes to grids which aren't reversed this season, he will not have a 100% win record, because it looks like this man, Thomas Vangen for IGL Coatings eRacing, who finished runner-up earlier on today, is going to do just about enough from 9th on the grid to take what would be a very satisfying race victory. Winkler led in parts, Biasetti led in parts, but it's going to be Thomas Vangen who leads across the checker flag and to take his first race victory in the Apex Racing League GT3 trophy. Thomas Vangen wins out for IGL Coatings eRacing. So Marco's run comes to an end. He finishes in 4th position. David Vey tops the Am class once again, and Christopher Otterholt also tops the Pro-Am category for the 2nd time this evening.
Yeah, such a good race. I mean, the invert, it came into effect. You take a look at a driver who started 9th, ended up getting the win, but the driver who started 10th in Samarco only got up to 4th. So I love the invert.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Samarco would be the one who would be able to make the moves really quickly, but I think Vangen was plainly the fastest driver, at least in race trim tonight. Samarco did take pole position fair and square, but was not able to take the race 2. Trying to get past definitely is Stephen David, but I think Navarro De Boer is going to hold on once again. The De Boer brothers congregating on the same bit of circuit, but unless he runs out of fuel, Navarro will hold on. And Stephen David, despite flashing his lights on several occasions on that final lap, it did not help him clearly, and he will finish in that position. Alex Bevans or Kuala has had to go back to the pits, and you all know why I pointed that one out. It's just to say that name. The amateur driver. No, he's back again. I think he's dropping in and out. Is the Kuala car? He will finish in 33rd place, basically, and last of the drivers on the lead lap. And once he crosses the line, you'll be able to go through your final results. But I will give a quick shout out as well to Virtual Racing School for sponsoring this broadcast and helping us out on this championship. Because Virtual Racing School offering their software to get you faster on sim racing or on iRacing. But also, of course, they are in the hardware game as well when it comes to their wheel rim, their wheel base, and their pedals as well. And if you want to check out their products, which are used in ESL R1 and by Apex Racing Team as well, pretty much the best equipment you can get in sim racing, do check out vrs.racing, and also do check out apexracingsim.com, where you can order any of those products. Here are the results then for tonight. Well, at least the race 2 results. Thomas Vangen winning out ahead of Biasetti, Winkler, Samarco, Isaacson. Vey was top of the amateur drivers. Otterholtz was top of the pro-ams. Then it was Beifelt, Larson, and Wyness. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the names because we have a few drivers who want to have a chat with us. I'll let it score through for you, and we will drag up 1 or 2 of our contenders for tonight. And well, I need to decide and be decisive about who I'm going to have a chat with. You know what, I'm going to have a chat with our highest point scorer tonight, Mr. Thomas Vangen, who joins us in the commentary box now. Thomas, congratulations. From 9th position on the grid, that must be a hugely satisfying race win for yourself.
Yes! All I can say. That was
Wonderful
hard
stuff.
work. That was hard work from all the way from the quali.
I must say that's the best reaction we've ever had to someone winning a race, and this is the good thing that we've dragged you straight up. The raw emotion's still there. I mean, we could feel it in terms of the intensity because I assume every lap in that 30 minutes was flat out.
Yep, all the way from race 1 was staying behind and watch the other guys and check their brake zones and not do anything stupid. So we are managed to get into top 10. And the second race is flat out from the beginning. So yeah, lose a couple of positions in the start, but okay, we take it back after the first corner. So yeah, good race for me and Christopher.
And talk us through the move. We watched it live. We weren't expecting it. You were a full car length behind, and then you just sent it. What had you seen on previous laps that Christian was taking like that wide line? Was that why you went for it, or was it just any time you would have taken that on any driver?
From the beginning, I was in the first lap. I will not risk anything to get a double penalty or something stupid. So we watched every guy a couple of corners before we do anything moves, and Winkler and Christian. A couple of laps behind. Okay, we dive Winkler after the straight. I know I can brake late, and Christian, yeah, stay behind a couple of laps, look after his weak points in braking, and yeah, take him by surprise.
It worked absolutely perfectly for yourself, and then, you know, once you'd done the hard work in that race and you got into the lead, a little bit of nerves, or were you happy with how sorts of focused you were in that last lap? Because I imagine it can get a bit nerve-wracking when you know, you got so much at stake.
Every race I am so nervous. My braking pedal is shaking. So if you take a look at my telemetry on VRS, my brake curves is so heart rate, so up and down in the braking zones. So I turn on my Wift on my air condition before 3-4 last laps, and turn off Discord, everything annoying. So iRacing volume up and 110% focus to get this, and yeah, it's all or nothing.
Awesome work. Well, I'm really pleased how happy you are with that race victory, Thomas. It was one of the best I think we've had in the series. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Of course, you guys, as always, making a good content. My team, IGL Coating eRacing, and our sponsors, IGL Coatings, Sande Trafikkskole, Elverdi, EK Sim, and all the guys in the team put down so much work. So we are practicing for a national championship starting in August. So yeah, looking forward to it. So again, thank you for time.
Has your building just set on fire or something? What's going on?
No, that is emergency call in Norway. We have some heavy rain, so it's overflowed in some rivers. So it's national warning on my cell phone.
Hey dear. Well, I hope everyone stays safe over there, and well, I hope that you keep up this great form next week as well, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so.
Thomas Vangen there, a very, very happy Thomas Vangen, and as he should be, because that was a spectacular drive from 9th on the grid. Avery, would you like to take an interview, and if so, who would you like to drag up?
I think the driver we need to talk to is that amateur driver, David Bai, and Hervé, and comes up and puts on a really good run. David, congrats on a fantastic race. You won the amateur division, but you put on a really good run. How was the race for you?
Everything started with the qualifying. I had a really lucky qualifying because I was already on the front of the M class, but on my second lap I got a really good I got a really good slipstream, and I managed to gain 3/10 on the straight, which helped me in getting a really good qualifying position. and this paid me off, especially with all of those collisions at the starts. One just happened right next to me in the S's, and I managed to avoid all of them with this. And I had really great fights. I was able to defend on the end of the second race against much faster guys, so I'm pretty happy with this one, and I hope this will help me in getting closer to the championship lead.
Yeah, you put on a really good effort. You finished great in the first race, and then the second race you maintained and finished very well. So a lot of momentum on your way, but you know there's got to be some people helping you out. Is there anybody you'd like to thank who helps you out?
Yeah, I like to thank to my friends, family, the team, the Fendi Racing. They are a really good team. They were really supportive when I started racing and through my career. So I want to thanks to them.
Yeah, many people to thank. David, it's been a pleasure watching you today at Watkins Glen, and I can't wait to see you in your next race. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
So that was David Ray with a real good points haul tonight in his class, and another man who got a very good points haul in his class was Christopher Otterholt, who joins us in the comms box now. Christopher, congratulations. 2 7th place finishes, some real good points tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Great surprise this time as well, but managed to avoid the crashes, and yeah, great result.
Exactly, that race 1 in particular, you seem to really benefit from that instant ahead. How did you get through it? I mean, what was it like from your perspective?
I think it was 2 accidents. Maybe the first one was easy, but the second one I decided to change lanes at the last minute. That worked out very good, so I managed to get past. So from then it was just yeah, I had a big gap behind, so just cruising to the finish.
Yeah, and then in race 2, you had some real nice battles. Of course, started up in 4th position, and it seemed like you had a race-long battle against David Ray and Marcus Beifeld, Kettle Larsen involved in that one as well, but it seemed like it was a very fun, intense battle between a lot of you.
Yeah, it was great. I'm sorry for Paul, actually. I hit him in the carousel. I think he was off track a bit, and I was 0.2 of second behind him. So sorry to him, but I had nowhere to go. But from then on in, it was a great fight between David, who had a really good pace today, and also Marcus. Yes, I think Marcus struggled a little with top end speed.
Yeah, we could certainly see that as well. It seemed like he was struggling to get past David, and yeah, of course you were able to pass him late on as well to get that fantastic 7th place finish. Well, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Christopher?
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to my teammate Thomas for winning the second race, and also our sponsors in IGL Coatings, Sande Trafikkskole, and also Elverdi.
Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping up and having a chat with us, Christopher, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
So that was Christopher Otterholt there, top of the Pro-Am drivers tonight. And I think that is pretty much going to round us out for tonight, because that is our slots completed. And, well, a brilliant round of the championship. Avery, I think you're very lucky. I will say this has been the best round of the championship so far, because, and maybe it's a bit harsh, but Antonino Sammarco didn't dominate tonight. Partially because of that reverse grid, but frankly I think because the other drivers really brought it to him. I don't think he was the fastest driver out here tonight, and he managed to well, the other drivers absolutely managed to maximise their performance, and Thomas Vangen, certainly the driver of the day.
Oh yeah, Thomas put on a heck of a run. I mean, he came up from 9th and was still able to, make the win. And whenever he had a chance to pass, like you said, he waited a couple corners, maybe a lap, found the weakness, and then took that weakness and made it his strength to get around him. So really good run by him. Good run by the whole field. Pretty awesome race. Can't wait to take a look at and watch next week's show, because man, it's a lot of fun watching the GT3 cars, especially when you have a good mix between manufacturers. It's not just one or two manufacturers. There's a multitude of the cars. So yeah, it was a really fun race for me. Honor to call it.
Absolutely, yeah, it was really good fun. It was an honour to call it myself, even though I do this every week. Like I said, the best race so far this season. Next up, we head to Jerez, which will be the first ever Apex Racing League event at Jerez, and I've always thought it's been a very good circuit, and it is a very good circuit in the sim. So I really look forward to that one, and that will be a bit of a different circuit compared to what we've had so far. A lot of slipstream, kind of high-speed circuits. Jerez a lot more technical. But I think that will be a very good addition to Apex Racing League, and the first time of many visits to the Spanish circuit. We'll see you back then in a week's time, but of course in the meantime, do make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to Apex Racing TV so you can see all of our other streams, including the Porsche Cups, which visit here tomorrow on the classic NASCAR layout. We've also got Radicals on Friday, Formula 3 on Friday, we've got Formula 3.5, and Spec Racer Ford, and all of the other stuff as well, the Weekend Warriors series, iRacing as well, and lots of other stuff being broadcast on Apex Racing TV. So do make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out our social media pages as well on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, where we are regularly posting extra content of snippets that we maybe didn't catch necessarily on the broadcast at first, along with just some cool angles of various things that happen during the week on the channel. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Avery McDonald, and from Lee Thompson, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back next week at Jerez for round 5 of the championship. See you then.